The University of Tehran is among the groups working on humanoid robots for an extended period of time. This experience has culminated into Serena 4, their latest iteration of humanoid robot that seems to be able to copy human movements to complete a variety of tasks, which include drilling. This is particularly exciting for long-term subscribers of this channel because they know automation in construction is my primary concentration. I ultimately believe that humanoid robots are going to be really important on construction sites around the world, especially in areas with skilled labor shortages. So seeing a robot that can drill is one step closer to that construction automation dream. This robot's also able to write its name about as well as I can. With some handwriting in construction classes, this could get interesting. Here's the Robonaut 2, another project over a decade old, which they supposedly were going to send to space to help the astronauts, though I couldn't find any footage of the system operating in space conditions. Digit by Agility Robotics is starting with logistics and warehouse tasks, mostly picking and placing objects with its claw-like hands. They've made a deal with Amazon where they're testing its capabilities in their logistics departments. Amazon employs over 750,000 robots, and every year they've been accumulating more and more. An interesting aspect of this system is the reverse folding legs. Instead of bending forward, the knee bends backward, and there's an additional support structure from the back of the knee to the gluteus maximus. MagicBot from Magic Labs was one of the last companies to make this video. I had been searching for humanoid robotic companies to include for months, and in the final days of preparation, stumbled across this company. Their website is just a logo, and their YouTube channel has under 1,000 subscribers, but their humanoid robot seems to have quite dexterous hands that's even capable of folding clothes. It's unclear whether this is human operated with a controller or some type of AI capable of these tasks without the human in the loop. If you're enjoying this video and want more humanoid robot content from my channel, drop a like and subscribe. If you're already subscribed, leave a comment that you want to see more of this kind of stuff. I want to visit these companies in person and see how many tries it takes to get these perfect clips. Next we've got Apollo from Apptronic. They're located in my hometown of Austin, Texas, so I might get a chance to stop by their facility soon. This is the first full-size bipedal humanoid robot we've seen with hands and dexterity, able to walk and lift things on its own. Right now they seem focused on logistics and warehouse operating roles. At the end of the video, there's even some foreshadowing for lights-off operation. This is an industry term for the robots operating overnight without any human intervention. Next up we've got Cyber1, one of many competitive Chinese companies in the humanoid robotic space. Here they're demonstrating in a public conference the ability to walk, hold an item, and also pass it off to a human. Their partnership with Xiaomi means there's no shortage of manufacturing capacity, resources, and talent available. Here we've got Kepler. It does appear to be a bipedal humanoid, but it's attached to an overhead system and also plugged in, perhaps not the most advanced system on the list. Fourier Intelligence is developing the GR1 with the unique goal of elderly care. I'm going to take a hardline stance here that many of you will disagree with, but I think that there's more than enough people on Earth for companionship, and these roles are much better served with real humans rather than robots. We need robot workers, not robot friends. Limex Dynamics is a collaborative organization with participants from many American and Chinese universities. Altogether, they've published over 130 papers on the topic of humanoid robots. Here, the CL1 is demonstrating its ability to climb up steps, though I'm always a bit more impressed when they're confident enough to let the robot operate without supporting cables. Xpeng is a Chinese auto manufacturer, and they've developed the PX5. It seems many auto manufacturers are trying their hand at humanoid robots. Perhaps the manufacturing experience they have will help in bringing a technology like this to scale once they figure out how to make them most effective. Not only can it navigate a dynamic surface, it's also able to use different navigation methods like this segue. So instead of walking, It's just leaning forward and backward. Kind of a roundabout way to get a humanoid robot on wheels. During this video, Unitree also released the G1. It's their brand new humanoid robot, new and improved, and this one, as you can see, does include hands. It's weird seeing some of the odd robotic motions they're capable of. I'm sure Unitree has learned a ton from the H1, and they've implemented a lot of those learnings into the G1. It's able to take quite a beating and still remain upright, balancing itself after being punched or pushed. In the release video, they say it will be for sale for $16,000, though I'm not sure when it will be commercially available. They also demonstrate how it's capable of folding up for a sort of transport mode. It seems small enough that it could be picked up and moved fairly easily. That said, it's still over 75 pounds, so lift with your knees and maybe hit the gym if you haven't been picking things up in a while. Like we learned earlier in this video, systems like this are often trained in simulations. This robot was trained with reinforcement learning, simulating motions thousands of times before practicing them in the real world. This next part is kind of intimidating. It's able to crack a walnut. I wonder what else could crack. It brings up the question of safety. How strong should the robot be? It's impressive it's able to open the bottle without cracking the glass. Unitree demonstrates a huge variety of tasks in this video, but I wonder how many takes it took. Are they able to replicate these results in the real world, time after time? Figure is among the most competitive and compelling players in the space of humanoid robots. They've recently announced a partnership with OpenAI so that their system can become smarter and adapt to more real-world scenarios. They've also just raised $650 million to accelerate their progress in developing a humanoid robotic system. Many of their parts, including actuators, are developed in-house. Their CEO, Brett Adcock, initially started a recruiting firm called Vettery, sold it for $100 million, and then started Archer, an electric aircraft firm, worth $2.7 billion. Now he's started Figure, and his ambition is to automate human labor with the system you see in front of you. Here it's making a coffee, which may not seem too complex at first glance, but when you consider how many intricacies and possibility for error there is, you start to understand why it's so important to have an artificial intelligence that can adapt to all the different real-world scenarios that might arise. If you want to keep up with the latest advancements in software AI, their CEO Brett is a great follow on X. Every Sunday he posts a comprehensive overview of pretty much every major development in the AI software space. Seems like moving boxes will be the first job of many of these systems. Of course, now we have Optimus by Tesla, and Tesla is now on their third iteration of robot. They've been advancing quickly, initially unveiling the Bumblebee concept, then Optimus Gen 1, here's Optimus Gen 2, and recently on X, Elon even said they're working on a version that will have 22 degrees of freedom in the hands instead of 11 like the Optimus system pictured here. They've got it walking around the factory without any kind of special harness, and although the gait may look kind of strange, it's a significant improvement from the earlier walking in both pace and aesthetic. Tesla has two massive advantages when it comes to humanoid robots. They've got a hardware and manufacturing advantage, both in developing things like actuators in-house and producing them at scale. They've also got a software advantage because of the AGI behind FSD. If the software can understand the world around it, it can navigate through it without causing any harm. Finger sensors allow egg handling without cracks. Considering how much manufacturing Tesla does, they know as well as anybody which roles are important to replace first, or which roles might be most suited for a humanoid robot to complete. Here they're teaching a humanoid robot to place electric battery cells from a rack into a container, and it's being taught by humans which are completing the task next to it. This footage is autonomous in real time and has some degree of artificial intelligence to the capacity it's able to correct when it makes a simple error. Here you can see it's fumbling with a battery that wasn't quite in the right spot. Training was conducted by hooking people up to gloves and a headset system so that they could teleoperate the robot through the task. After sufficient teleoperations, the robot is able to do the same task without the person. Some online commenters have mocked this task, claiming that battery placement could be done by a cheaper 2-axis robot, but it's only demonstrating early capabilities in a simpler environment. Things are going to get complex faster than you can imagine.